You check your bank account before you check the weather. You do this most mornings. You tell yourself it's just curiosity. It isn't. It's something much older than curiosity and much harder to satisfy. Almost everyone wants to be rich. Almost no one becomes rich. But the real answer to why is far stranger than laziness or bad luck. Your brain was never built to accumulate wealth. It was built to track rank. For most of human history, there was no such thing as money. There was only status. Who eats first? Who gets the best shelter? Who gets to choose a mate? Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades studying hunter-gatherer societies, and he found something surprising. These groups were almost obsessively focused on preventing any one person from rising too far above the rest. Bragging was punished. Hoarding was punished. Even skilled hunters were mocked to keep them humble. Why would evolution build a species that punishes success? Because for 200,000 years, standing out was dangerous. A person who accumulated too much drew resentment. Resentment turned into exile. Exile on the open savanna meant death. Your ancestors who survived weren't the ones who got rich. They were the ones who fit in. That's the wiring you inherited. Modern life changed the rules almost overnight on an evolutionary timescale. Money became abstract. Wealth became invisible, stored in numbers on a screen instead of piles of meat or grain everyone could see. But your nervous system didn't get the memo. It still reads wealth as rank. It still treats falling behind as danger. This is where it gets strange. Psychologist Sonia Lubomirsky has spent years researching what actually predicts happiness, and money barely makes the list. Genetics, daily habits, and relationships dominate the equation. Income explains a surprisingly small slice. Yet you still want more of it. Why chase something that won't even make you happy? Because you were never chasing happiness. You were chasing rank. Here's the twist almost nobody expects. Wanting to be rich and staying average aren't contradictions. They're the same mechanism, running exactly as designed. Economist Robert Frank calls it a positional treadmill. You don't compare your income to some fixed number. You compare it to the people around you. Get a raise, and your neighbor gets one too. Buy a bigger house, and the average house nearby grows with it. The goalpost moves at the same speed you run. You feel like you're chasing wealth. You're actually just running in place on a track your brain insists is real. This explains something that used to seem backwards. Studies on lottery winners are almost unanimous. A rush of joy, a spike in confidence. Then, within about a year, most winners return to roughly the same happiness level they had before. Not because the money vanished, because their reference point moved with it. Their brain simply recalibrated to a new normal and started scanning for the next comparison. You do this too, every single day. Think about the last time you felt genuinely wealthy. It probably wasn't about your total net worth. It was a moment. Maybe you saw your paycheck sitting a little higher than a friend's. Maybe you upgraded before someone else did. That flicker of feeling ahead, that's the actual reward your brain was designed to chase. Not abstract wealth, relative position. So if almost everyone is wired to want status, why doesn't almost everyone get rich? Because getting rich requires overriding an even older instinct, the instinct to stay safe inside the group. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman, working alongside Amos Tversky, uncovered something called loss aversion. Losing something hurts roughly twice as much as gaining the equivalent feels good. This isn't a minor quirk, it reshapes every financial decision you make. Starting a business risks a stable paycheck. Investing risks a visible loss. Negotiating a higher salary risks a moment of social friction. Your ancestors who avoided unnecessary risk lived longer, ate more reliably, and reproduced more often than the ones who gambled boldly. That caution is baked into you, deeply. Wanting to be rich lights up the same ancient circuitry as wanting rank. Staying safe lights up the same ancient circuitry as staying alive. These two systems were never designed to cooperate. They were designed to argue. Most people stay average not because they lack ambition, they lose an internal argument between two systems that are both technically doing their job. There's a deeper layer to this. Group living didn't just punish hoarding. It rewarded a specific kind of invisibility. Standing out too little meant low status. Standing out too much meant a target. The safest position for hundreds of thousands of years was the middle of the pack. Noticeable enough to matter, not so noticeable you became a threat. You can feel this pull even now. Think about the discomfort of being the one person in a friend group who suddenly earns far more. People pull back, conversations get careful. Even the person who succeeded often downplays it, almost apologizing for doing well. That's not modesty. That's your ancestors' survival strategy, still running quietly in the background of a modern dinner table. So the system works exactly as designed. It just wasn't designed for a world with billionaires, stock markets, and infinite scroll. And infinite scroll makes the treadmill spin faster than it ever has before. Sociologist Irving Goffman described how humans have always performed an idealized version of themselves for others. For most of history, that performance had a small audience, a village, a tribe, maybe a few hundred people across a lifetime. Today, that audience is thousands of curated highlight reels, refreshed every time you unlock your phone. Your rank tracking brain, built for a village of 150 people, is now comparing itself against millions. No wonder it feels like everyone else is winning. They aren't. They're doing exactly what you're doing, showing the highlight, hiding the treadmill. Here's the part that should change how you feel about all of this. The instinct to want more wasn't a flaw. It pushed your ancestors to hunt harder, build shelter, protect their families, and improve their circumstances generation after generation. Wanting to rise is not weakness, it's inheritance. The mistake isn't wanting to be rich. The mistake is assuming the number will ever feel like enough, when the system was never built to let any number feel like enough. It was built to keep you climbing, forever, because a species that stops climbing stops adapting. Understanding this doesn't kill the drive. It just changes what you're driving toward. Some of the people who escape the treadmill don't out-earn it. They out-notice it. They catch themselves mid-comparison and ask a simple, unglamorous question. Compared to what, exactly, and chosen by whom? Tonight, you'll probably check your bank account again. Maybe compare a number to someone else's, even without meaning to. Notice it, and you'll understand something almost no one else in that scroll ever stops to see. You were never checking your balance. You were checking your rank.